And Garlic is a world leader in garlic potency. I'm taking charge of my cholesterol with Garlic Healthy Cholesterol Formula, cholesterol's natural enemy.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. The term natural references only the garlic in the product. Use as directed.
Do you hear that? Asthma triggers are everywhere, from dust mites, pet dander, and pollen, to smog and smoke. An asthma attack can strike anywhere, anytime. Be prepared with quick-acting Primatene Mist. Clinically proven to open airways quickly. It's the #1 FDA-approved asthma inhaler available over the counter. Primatene Mist. Breathe easy again. Use as directed.
10 people were killed in a small plane crash in the Bahamas, says ABC's Tom Sufi-Burge.
An urgent investigation is underway today in the Bahamas after a small plane crashed, killing everyone on board. Video of the crash site obtained by ZNS Bahamas shows the wreckage smoldering in a forest near the capital. Officials saying one person initially survived the crash, but later died of their injuries.
And aviation regulators have suspended the airline's operating license during the investigation. Crews in Washington, D.C. are once again draining the reflecting pool at the Lincoln Memorial that's been hit by green algae and damage to its new blue sealant, as ABC's Chuck Sievertson explains.
President Trump's problem-plagued effort to revamp the pool pushes well past his initial goal of having it ready by July 4th to mark the nation's 250th birthday. Last month, the water was clouded by a green algae bloom, and pieces of the new blue sealant appeared to be peeling off the bottom. Trump has blamed the peeling on vandals, though critics allege it's from shoddy repair work. Charged Olympic canoeist David Hearn, who denies allegations that he damaged the lining.
That's ABC's Chuck Sievertson. Another change in Washington, D.C. The entrance to the White House is undergoing what the White House calls security enhancements and upgrades on the north portico. It's expected to be finished around mid-September. It's not clear what these security enhancements entail. I'm Brian Clark, ABC News.
A small business affirmation from Progressive. Bakery owners, you will be loved today. Every pastry will be flaky. Your cake will make a child's day. Your delivery van won't get sideswiped by a distracted garbage truck driver. But if so, breathe easy, knowing you'll get back to business quickly with Progressive protecting your commercial auto. See if you can save in as little as 8 minutes at progressivecommercial.com.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
The following is a presentation of the Championship Racing Network.
Drivers, start your engines. Pull those belts down tight one more time, warm up those tires, hit your marks, and let's go racing, boys and girls. NASCAR, IndyCar, Formula One, Formula E, and NHRA Racing Talk. This is the Championship Racing Network. Now here is your hosts, Steve West and Matt Nicholson, with producer John Myers.
Oh, fun with YouTube cameras. Hey, yep. Good morning. How is everything? How are you?
If I get rid of this headache I've had for a week, I'd be a lot better.
Well, I can understand that. It's weird to be back in the studio with you. Kind of got used to being over there for the past
instead of looking straight across.
I know. It's so strange. But, hey, we'll make it work. Plenty to get to on this particular show here. Silly season is indeed in full force. And
then some.
Yeah, and then we got a couple of different scheduling bits of news that we're going to be talking about as well. But let's kick off as we usually do by saying good morning. Matt Nicholson, I'm Steve West. Producer John Bird over there behind the board here at the flagship station of Talk 99.5. Producer John on our YouTube on CRN Live. You can check it out there. We appreciate you very much for doing that. And we get into the meat of things by looking back at last week real quick. And usually, when you think about it, we talk about Cup Moonlighters in a truck or O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race. We're kind of talking about them going to victory lane. That seems pretty much the norm, but not last Saturday night, as it turned out. First, the race got delayed a very long time by rain, and you stayed up to watch it. God bless you.
Unfortunately. But it was worth staying up.
Yeah, it was a good race. When it finally got rolling, came down to a battle of Moonlighter Chase Elliott taking on Brandon Jones. Was this a race that somebody else was supposed to run and then Chase? Okay, so Chase was scheduled for this.
Chase was scheduled for this one.
Jones grabs the lead off the final restart, wouldn't let it go in the first race in the series that required overtime. That's kind of hard to believe when you stop and think about it. First race of the year that required overtime in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series.
That, considering you've already run Talladega, Atlanta, and Daytona, yeah.
Yeah,
very surprising.
But to get it done, Jones bests Elliott. They were trailed by Jesse Love, Brent Cruz, who just continues to impress, Austin Hill. We'll talk about him in a minute. Justin Allgaier, Taylor Gray, Sam Mayer, Moonlighters, Cole Custer, and Connor Zilich round out the top 10. Justin Allgaier continues to just be all by himself at the top of the charts there. 898 points. Second place is Jesse Love at 703.
He's gone.
Number one seed in the chase, anybody? Let's go to the other end of the battle to get into the chase. Brent Cruz is now the cut line. Taylor Gray's 8 points over it. William Sawalich is 44 points under it. Rajah Caruth, 48 under it. Not impossible, but we're running out of races here, boys and girls.
To my understanding, if I read it right, Rajah Caruth has got the 88 car for the remainder of the year.
Okay.
No other drivers.
So that helps him because that at least gives him some consistency.
If anybody is going to challenge that, it's going to be him.
Okay. So you don't think William Sawalich is going to recover?
Sawalich something's off with Sawalich this year.
Okay. Is it the team? Is it the driver? Is it a combination? What is it?
I think it's a combination of just luck. It's a thing of just luck. He's had pretty bad luck here lately.
So he's the Tyler Reddick of the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because you want to talk about a guy who's, man, I don't know where the luck turned, but it has turned for him.
Yeah, it's pretty rough.
All right, so we'll get back into that here in a moment. Let's, where do we want to go next? How about Formula E, where rains plagued the weekend for Formula E last weekend in Shanghai. They did subside at the right time for the beginning of the second race of the doubleheader last weekend, Sunday morning specifically. It came down to really who was set up the best for the changing conditions, as it turned out to be Formula E veteran Lucas de Grassi was best set up for that. He started the race, get this, 19th.
So it can be done.
Yeah, but with the gamble that the conditions would turn, the setup allowed him to slice through the field, that and well-timed power boost right there towards the end that he got after a late full course yellow. It allowed him to get past the then leaders and grabs the win. DeGrassi bests Jean-Eric Verne, who himself started 18th. And then a 17th place qualifier in Joel Eriksson finished third.
It can be done.
Yeah. Pascal Wehrlein just missed a podium finish. Trailed by Sebastian Buemi. Your pole sitter, Felipe Drugovich, dropped all the way down to 6th. Nico Muller, Oliver Rowland, Taylor Bernard, and Max Gunther rounded out the top 10. Pascal Wehrlein with the win and a top 5 over the weekend last weekend. Again, it was a doubleheader weekend in Shanghai. He takes over the points lead now 141 to 132 over now former leader Mitch Evans. Oliver Rowland's third, Antonio Felix DaCosta fourth, Jake Dennis making up the top 5. Dennis holds 109 points, so I don't know. There's still time, but you want to talk about time running out.
Yeah.
You know, they're in their last month, this month, of having Formula E races.
Yep.
Jaguar retains the points lead over Porsche, but it's now down to a slim 6 points, 243 to 237, so that's still up for contest. 174 for Andretti, 172 for Mahindra, so third and fourth still up for grabs. And then the rest of your 11 teams, Envision has 130, 125 for Nissan. Citroen, in their first year, 115. 86 for Cooper Kiro. Penske, 49, and looking for anything, really. Speaking of looking for anything, Lola, 34. Porsche extends their manufacturer's lead, 384 to 334 over Jaguar. Stellantis, 192, 173 for Mahindra. Nissan 151. Lola is up to 77 points after the decent weekend that they are in China. And again, manufacturer's points is not only the team, but who all you are selling your power plants to.
Right.
So they, to think that their customer team is doing better than them.
Oof.
Ow.
Yeah. Ooh.
From China to England, Formula One got in the British Grand Prix on our July 4th weekend. It was the Ferrari pair, though, Charles Leclerc showing the way. got off to a great start. Mercedes began to interfere with the 1-2 plans for the legendary team. Kimi Antonelli taking the lead when Leclerc was called into the pits, but it flipped a couple of laps later when Antonelli pitted. He set off in chase of Leclerc, but they had a fairly rare mechanical problem that ended his run just over halfway through the race, so he faded back.
Yeah.
He was able to finish the race, but it was a mechanical problem that they had to go get fixed. Leclerc at that point just made sure nobody else was going to get close enough to really challenging. Trying to do it was Max Verstappen. Verstappen himself makes a rare error. He lost control of his car in lap 48, spun off into the gravel trap. This caused a full course yellow, and this caused a whole lot of controversy. Things ended up not getting cleared in time. Leclerc gets the win under yellow. The Mercedes of George Russell claims second. Sir Lewis Hamilton and the other Ferrari claims third. Remainder of the top 10, Lando Norris, Isaac Hadjar, Liam Lawson, Arvid Lindblad, Gabriel Bortoleto, Franco Colapinto, and Pierre Gasly. Mercedes pair of Kimi Antonelli and George Russell lead the points, 179 and 154 respectively. Lewis Hamilton third at 147, so this isn't over yet.
No.
Charles Leclerc at 108. Lando Norris also in there, just over 100. Mercedes leads the team standings 333 to 255 for Ferrari. But if things like this continue, Ferrari's going to make this more interesting.
That they are.
McLaren at 179 is searching for what the heck happened from last year to this year. Red Bull's at 128, and they're trying to figure out what the heck went wrong, period.
Yep.
Alpine at 60, 59 for Racing Bulls. Haas F1 stuck at 21. Williams with 11. Audi has 6, 1 for Aston Martin. And there's good news and there's bad news. Cadillac is stuck at 0, but both cars finished the race. So there's the good news.
That's a positive.
At least their brakes didn't catch on fire.
That is a positive.
While McLaren is the defending F1 Constructors' Cup titleists, they made some history real quick last Sunday when they claimed their first ever 1-2 finish, not in Formula One, but in IndyCar. Battle between Pato O'Ward and pending free agent Christian Lundgaard for most, if not all, of the race. In the end, O'Ward got the best of it with the win. Marked the first win for O'Ward in the series in almost a year. More the dominance of Alex Palou than anything else.
Oh, yeah. It's weird.
Because it's not like Pato O'Ward has just, lost it and suddenly found it 15 races later.
No, it's just been everybody's finally caught up to Palou and Ganassi.
Yeah. By the way, that was 15 races ago in Toronto, where they're not racing this year because of the World Cup. Behind the Arrow McLaren pair, Kyle Kirkwood, Rinus VeeKay with a really good run. Speaking of Alex Palou, he was 5th. Will Power, Christian Rasmussen, David Malukas, Joseph Garden. Third Arrow McLaren car out of the other presumed free agent. Silly season news. We'll get back to it. Nolan Siegel, he rounds out the top 10. Now, that being said, don't feel bad for Alex Palou, or, I don't know, maybe wish bad on him if you really can't stand him. It's up to you. He still leads the points. It's 404 to 348 over Kyle Kirkwood. 6 more races to go.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle Kirkwood, 348, 339 for Christian Lundgaard, 338 for David Malukas, 310 for Pato O'Ward. I'm not saying it can't be done, but, man, you want to talk about a vertical climb.
Yeah, that's a definite vertical climb, but I guess it's the saying of the day. It can be done. It can be done because
it can be.
Bad luck can strike anybody at any time.
We'll see whether or not it actually happens. Rookie points lead still held by Dennis Hauger. Kyle Collette closed in last Sunday, now 148 to 132. Mick Schumacher, who had made a run for a little while, seems to be fading back again. He is at 108. And the engine manufacturer battle now closer as well. Honda does still lead Chevrolet, but it's a gap of only 892 to 868. And that takes us back to Chicago. First time we've been to Chicagoland Speedway since 2019. And correct me if I'm wrong, weren't all 3 Chicago street course races affected by rain? I know the first 2 were.
They were.
Yeah.
They were.
Actually, it wasn't in Chicagoland. The weather cooperated. Maybe Mother Nature's saying we need to be at Chicagoland instead of the Chicago downtown street course race.
I could see that.
There is a map.
I could agree with that.
There's a map that producer John found that we're just going to let you know it's going to be up on CRN Live on YouTube here probably in just a little bit. and I think it might actually prove a point. So if you want to go check it out, feel free. As the weather cooperated, when all was said and done, Toyota in victory lane. Again, it was really just a question of which Toyota driver it was going to be. And this time it happened to be that guy. Chase Briscoe pulled his number 19 Joe Gibbs Racing entry in, marked his first win this year, his 6th career Cup Series win, notably his first career Cup Series win on a 1.5-mile tri-oval track.
That is surprising to think and hard to think, but yeah.
Yeah, surprising enough. But yep, Chase Briscoe finally gets that monkey off of his back. He was able to hold off a hard-charging teammate in Christopher Bell. Got a little squirrely off of turn 2 in the final lap, and that relegated him to second. Third place was a third JGR teammate, Denny Hamlin. After that, it was William Byron, Alex Bowman, Bubba Wallace, Ryan Blaney, the 4th Joe Gibbs racing car, Ty Gibbs, Corey Heim, Riley Earpst. This continues to show that Toyota has this car locked in on oval tracks. 7 of the top 10 were Toyotas.
They're doing their homework. They're not like, oh, Toyota's got a cheated up car. No, they're doing their homework.
NASCAR isn't giving them any extra horsepower or any of that stuff. This is just them doing their homework. But here's the thing. And you think about this in racing terms, all of these things tend to be cyclical. We talked about Alex Palou just a moment ago, how dominant he was last year. Mm-hmm. And it's not that he is any less talented or having bad luck this year. He's doing well this year. The thing about it is everybody else has just caught up to Alex Palou. Sooner or later, the Fords and or the Chevrolets, one of the two, if not both, will figure it out, and they will begin to catch up, and they will at least equal, if not overtake, Toyota, which will cause them to have to make another adjustment, and so on and so forth.
Chevrolet is ahead of Ford right now. If I had to,
I would agree.
One or two, Chevrolet is considerably ahead of Ford.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Don't get me wrong, but I'm saying either one or both of them is going to find it.
Yeah,
whatever it is, and they'll make that run.
And when they do, it will be a little bit better for the overall parity of the sport.
Oh, I agree. Because that was what NASCAR wanted out of this Gen 7 car. They wanted that parity. And right now, Toyota's walking away with it. But eventually, again, that worm will turn, and it'll set things down. Denny Hamlin now leads Tyler Reddick, who had another bad day at the office. That lead has grown to 44 points now. At the other end of the chase standings, Ryan Preece, 4 points under the cut line that has been set by Eric Jones. Austin Cindric is 3 over the cut line. That area from about 14th, 15th, all the way down through 20th, only separated by about 50 points, give or take. A lot of movement still available there. And don't forget, we wrap up the regular season at Daytona, which is one of the ultimate wild cards. I'm not so certain we can call this weekend in Atlanta that wild card anymore. It was when it first opened, but now that it's got some age on it and these guys have gotten kind of used to it, I don't think it's as much as a wild card as it used to be.
I still think it is.
Don't get me wrong. Again, I'm saying I don't think it's as much of one as it used to be.
I see what you're saying, yes.
I think it's settled some, but again, you put a super speedway package on these cars and go around a track, Daytona, Talladega, or Atlanta. Yeah, I mean, there's some, but Atlanta's starting to become just a really high-banked, high-speed fun to watch 1.5 mile tri-oval.
It really is. I mean, because it's produced three or four at least of the best finishes in the Cup Series since 2022.
Yeah, and you and I have been in a couple of those, and I'm here to tell you it's been a blast. It really has. What Atlanta has turned into, I got to admit, I was a little skeptical when they announced what they were planning on doing with it, but it has paid off. It has paid off. Tell you what, John Bird, let's go ahead and go to break here. And when we come back, we'll give you the racing schedule for the weekend here because it's, truth be told, not all that busy. But we also want to take a couple of moments and talk about the next round of the NASCAR In-Season Challenge. And then we're going to lead off with drag racing news because we've wondered about this. I hope it's just growing pains for the IHRA. We'll talk about it coming up right after we get back from this break on CRN.
We will be right back with more on the Championship Racing Network.
Welcome back in. Appreciate you joining us. Portions of this show, including this one right here, being brought to you by the fun folks at Siluria Brewing Company. Danny Sample and the gang down there always have a great time out there. They've got great things. Got a game called Singo going on tonight. Next week, 1 week from tonight, if you think you know Harry Potter trivia, they've got a game for you. It is a themed trivia night next Saturday night, the 18th, that is all about Harry Potter. It's all kinds of great stuff. Check out their social medias, all the great things they got going on. They got a regular trivia game on Tuesday night. I host a music trivia game each and every Friday night. It is at Siluria Brewing Company, located 145 First Avenue West in Alabaster. Yes, it is a brewing company. It is a place that you can go and get all kinds of great craft brews. They do have hard ciders. They do offer some wines. And they do offer for the kids. If you bring the kids along, there's a great area back out in the back where they can go out and run around, play, and have a good time. But they have things like root beers, and they have some other sodas that you could buy as well, plus some snacks. Usually have a food truck there. Mm-hmm. But if you look it up and you realize the food truck may not offer what you particularly want, might be able to go out and find something else and just bring it along. They don't have any problem with you bringing your own food. It's really good stuff.
Sweet.
Siluria Brewing Company. Go check them out. Great partners here, and we appreciate Danny and everybody out there being such great supporters of us here at CRN. All right, so racing weekend this weekend. Nowhere near as busy as the last couple of weeks. Really, it's, for all intents and purposes, NASCAR-centric. Kicks off the Craftsman Truck Series. They're going to run a one-off race. They head up to Connecticut while the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series and the Cup Series have already run all of their road course races for this year, which seems strange. The final one for the Truck Series is this weekend. It's at Lime Rock Park. It's the Liuna 150. It'll be on Fox Sports 1 and the NASCAR Racing Network. I would imagine with PRN having Atlanta, most of these guys are going to be the MRN guys.
They are. I know Chris Wilner's up there, Kurt Becker's up there, and I think Steve Post.
Are they in the booth?
Wilner and Becker had the ARCA race yesterday.
In the booth. Wow, good for them. Like it. 1 p.m. Eastern, noon Central Time, by the way, is the start time there. This evening, O'Reilly Auto Parts Series takes to Echo Park Speedway in Atlanta. Focused Health 250 airs on the CW and PRN radio, starts 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central Time. Why so late, you ask? It's Atlanta in July. Trust me, you want it at night.
Yeah.
Final race of the weekend, very limited schedule, like I said, amongst the series that we regularly cover. Cup Series, Quaker State 400 available at Walmart. Echo Park Speedway in Atlanta. TNT, HBO Max, PRN Radio, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central Time. Why? Again, it's summertime in Atlanta, or Hotlanta as the nickname goes. Had the chance to maybe go with a ticket tomorrow night, but I got to work really early on Monday morning, so had to refuse it. Hate to say it, because, again, if it had been tonight, if the Cup Series had been tonight, I'd have been there.
Yeah. That was Sunday night runs in Atlanta are hard. I've done one.
Yeah, it is. It's very difficult. It again takes nothing away from what we said, though. We think the racing is fantastic. I'll be watching the race as long as I can until I absolutely have to turn the TV off and go to sleep. Speaking of which,
Mike Joy is going to be contributing to the truck broadcast at Lime Rock too.
Nice. That's good for him.
Don't know in what capacity, but he's made it clear on his social media. He's going to be there and contributing in some forms.
Okay. Knock it out. All right. In-season bracket challenge. Winner walking away ultimately with $1 million. All the other 31 teams that made the bracket. Hey, thanks for racing. Appreciate it. You get nothing. And you'll like it. This week's pairings pit Alex Bowman versus Todd Gilliland. Remember, Alex Bowman's the 32 seed.
That's going to be Bowman.
Yeah, I got to say so. I
mean,
unless something just happens that I don't. Again, these guys are going to go the entire distance of the race, okay? I would have to say Alex Bowman has the edge on Todd Gilliland, all things being equal. This one could be interesting. Teammates at Joe Gibbs Racing, Denny Hamlin taking on Christopher Bell. Hamlin's a hot hand, don't get me wrong, but Christopher Bell's team seems to be finally waking up from their early season slumber. It would not be a big shock to me if Christopher Bell came out on top on this one. I think Denny Hamlin will be the winner, don't get me wrong, but it would not shock me if Christopher Bell came out on top.
I wouldn't be either, but Hamlin's got too much momentum right now.
I would agree.
Way too much.
Chevy versus Ford battle, William Byron taking on Ryan Blaney. This one's pretty tight. Because of all the Fords that are out there, the one Ford that is actually making any hay whatsoever is Ryan Blaney.
I will eat what I said last week, and I called it upset, but I was off.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take Blaney in this one.
Okay. And I see exactly where you're coming from. I might give the slight edge to William Byron just because it's Hendrick Motorsports, and I've got a hard time choosing against Hendrick Motorsports. But that brings me to this battle of the Chases, Briscoe versus hometown favorite Chase Elliott.
Considering what happened last year.
Hendrick Motorsports versus Joe Gibbs Racing.
It's hard to go against Elliott.
But it's hard to go against Toyota, too.
True.
I mean, this one right here, amongst all of them, this one's the biggest coin flip of them all.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a noted Chase Briscoe fan. I mean, heck, I'm wearing the shirt that represented him in his final year at Stewart Haas Racing. Remember them, kids? And it's why I root for Chase Briscoe now. It's nothing really. I think Chase Briscoe's a nice guy, don't get me wrong.
Right.
But I'm rooting for him simply because he was the last driver to drive the number 14, which was Tony Stewart's car.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I'm a homer when it comes to that. So, I mean, yes, I'll root for Chase Briscoe, but if Chase Elliott wins this, absolutely zero surprise whatsoever. And all things being equal, I might actually give a slight edge to Chase Elliott in this.
Yep. I got to go Elliott on this one.
Ever so slight. Ever so slight. All right. Oh, here comes discussion situation number one, the IHRA. These guys got problems. Now, there are things that have validity, and there are things that don't. So again, social media is a double-edged sword. It can be a great thing. You can find out some great information through it. And then, unfortunately, you get the jerks and the jackasses, pardon my French, who will post literally anything that they want to. There is an IHRA Twitter X page that claims to be official, may not be as official as they claim it is. They claim, for example, this week that Daryl Cuddle got fired and replaced with another person. Daryl Cuddle owns the IHRA. He bought it. He owns it.
I think it was.
You can't fire him from that.
I think it may have been earlier this week or later last week here on the flagship with the morning show. One of the questions of the day was, what invention of late is doing more harm than good?
You and I both agreed.
I said social media.
You and I both agreed on that. And I didn't see your answer until after the fact.
Yeah, I said social media.
It is. It's a double-edged sword. It can be great. It can be great. But the problem is there's way too many idiots out there who are going to do to post something just to be rude or a jerk, or too many organizations that are trying to make a name for themselves, and they're going to post nothing but clickbait.
Yeah, or somebody putting like something up that's AI generated and trying to make it look real, and people think, oh, it done this right here.
Yeah.
That's AI, buddy.
So
that's AI.
Again, do a quick internet search. You realize Daryl Cuddle is the owner, remains the owner. He is the primary financier behind the IHRA. And unless somebody goes and buys him out, I'm not hearing anybody right off the hand going, hey, Daryl, I'd like to buy your IHRA from you. Kind of hard to fire you from that. But that doesn't mean that there aren't problems. And there are, especially for us here on the show regarding the drag racing side of things. Series officials released an announcement. This is yesterday morning, Friday morning. We air live on Saturday mornings if you're checking us out on the podcast or on the YouTube side at a later date. We air live on Saturday mornings, 9 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Central Time. And effectively, they've canceled the remainder of the 2026 Nitro Drag Racing Series season. It's very important to note that because the IHRA is over several different racing series. This one specifically affects us because the only one of theirs that we cover on a regular basis is indeed the Nitro Drag Racing Series.
There are, I'm just going to say it. There are a few people out there that are quote unquote media people that have said, just flat out put on some social media channels, IHRA is completely dead. My source says this, my source says that.
Name your source.
Yeah, name it. And until it's officially put out there by said organization,
we're not reporting that.
Yeah. I mean they could try to come back and rip you in half.
Yeah. And the other side of this is, you and I have talked about Daryl Cuddle. You and I have talked about where he made his money, how he has been able to go on this buying spree of all the facilities that he bought. Now, you and I asked the question, are you biting off more than you can chew?
Very well could have been.
And it does appear that way. Again, this is the situation of the growing pains of trying to relaunch the IHRA and having gone out and bought dozens, for lack of a better term, of facilities. And we talked about this last week because it was one of the races that got canceled back in February when we found out they bought Atlanta Dragway. As we were headed up to Charlotte for the NMPA conference in February, you and I specifically, because it's literally right off the interstate in Commerce, Georgia, you knew that better than I did. And it is. It's literally right off the interstate. We went and looked at it, and it looks like a desolate, non-towered airstrip.
Yeah.
There's nothing else but a strip of asphalt on that land. And you and I said, they plan on coming to Atlanta this year. We need to be there. And then they announced the schedule.
Yeah.
And it was the final race of this year on the original schedule. And we're like, okay, we're going to go because we want to see the transformation. Last week we talked about it. It's canceled. And it was one of 4 races that got canceled last week.
The ones that are on that, the ones that were on that schedule this year, if if I'm any fan base of those respective tracks, let me word it this way, that are the most ticked off is Maple Grove.
Yeah, because you want to talk about a race-ready track.
Yeah. Topeka's race ready.
They can, yeah, exactly. Those two facilities, they can hold a race right now.
I saw something, I read something last night while I was trying to go to sleep about Montgomery. Apparently, Cottle tried to come in and buy Montgomery outright.
Okay.
The main owners were entertaining it. But the general manager of it, I forgot the guy's name, stepped up and said, no, we need to keep this like it is and keep it going like it is. The series can come here, but no, we need to keep it like it is because of the simple fact of if the wrong hands get it, people got to know where to race.
That's true. Yeah.
He ended up proving to be right.
Yeah. And I mean, the unfortunate part is you had a shooting that happened there right before they were scheduled to bring the IHRA there, which caused them to cancel that particular, or I guess moved that particular race. It doesn't mean that the IHRA is not still interested in going there.
The last one that they ran at Hebron, Ohio was the Montgomery race supposed to be.
There you go. So it's not to say that the IHRA wouldn't be interested in coming back. I think they would. But right now, they've got to get themselves settled down. They've got to get themselves figured out. And again, I don't think this is a death knell.
No.
Number one. Number two, I also don't think that all of these racers who committed to running the IHRA this year are now going to grab their helmets and their haulers and go running over to the NHRA and say, you know what, I'll never give the IHRA a chance ever again. I don't think that's going to happen either.
Some of the top fuel and funny cars are going to tag in and jump and run with some NHRA races for the end of this season.
And I fully understand
that's not
that.
uncommon.
But I don't think that they're doing this to the exclusivity of never running the IHRA again.
No.
Because in the end, a racer's a racer. You have the chance to go out there and put your car on the track, whether it's an oval track, a road course, or a drag strip. You're going to give it that shot if you can work it into your schedule.
I mean, from me, I've used this saying before, from me talking behind the visor, that's me talking with a helmet on as a driver.
Mm-hmm.
If I've got a top fuel team, let's say I've got a I'm not going to say top flight grade A top fuel team.
Okay.
I'm going to call myself a B-level team.
Okay.
I'm not spectacular, but I'm not terrible. I'm mid-tier.
Okay.
I've got my choice of going, let's just throw some scheduling stuff out here. First off, me talking behind the visor, running the 8th mile versus running the full 1,000 feet, I would rather run the full 1,000 feet.
Understandable.
Run it just a little bit longer and get that much more of a race. Secondly, if I've got the choice, let's say IHRA has got a national nitro race at Montgomery, and NHRA is in, let's say they're in equal proximities of where my team base would be.
Okay.
Let's say NHRA is in South Georgia at Adele. I'm looking at the entry list. There's 17 cars at South Georgia, and there's only 10 in Montgomery.
You're going to go to where you got your best opportunity.
I'm going to go to Montgomery, where I got the best opportunity to get in the field to get maximum prize money.
Yeah, agreed.
Now, granted, that's not saying that I couldn't make the field in South Georgia.
But your odds are better.
My odds are better at Montgomery with a purse that's almost as equal, if not higher.
Yeah. Yep. So, no, I don't think that the IHRA is dead. There is a statement that came out. It's rather lengthy, so I'm going to tell both the producers, Johns, Bird, and Myers, to be prepared. Let's go ahead and go to break here, John Bird. And we'll come back. We'll continue this conversation And you can be in on it too. Text line is open, 545-9950. Phone lines are open, 205-545-9950. As they are basically all the time. We're live, ready to go. So if you want in on this, late model Mark, I wonder, we'll see what's happening. But when we come back, we will read the statement from the current IHRA president, not the owner, Daryl Cuttle, but the IHRA president. That's next.
Stay right here for more on the Championship Racing Network.
Since I was a kid. Now, seeing my grandson out on the water, it means everything to me. Watching him and taking in the blue waves, the sea breeze, the blurry horizon.
If you have geographic atrophy, or GA, subtle changes in vision could mean it's progressing toward irreversible vision loss. Izervay is proven to slow GA progression and could help preserve your vision for longer, so you may keep seeing the world around you. Izervay, or avacincaptad pegol, is an eye injection. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may cause blood in the white of the eye, blurred vision, or a temporary increase in eye pressure. Do not drive or use machinery until vision has recovered after an eye injection or exam. Ask your retina specialist how you can slow your GA with Izervay. To learn more, call 1-855-IZERVAY or go to izervay.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
Four tires and 2 cans of fuel, and we're back to more racing action on the Championship Racing Network.
Welcome back into the show. Steve West and Matt Nicholson. Producer John Bird here at Talk 99.5, the flagship station, and of course, running things very, very capably on our own YouTube page, CRN Live on YouTube. Now, if you want to, you can go to Real Talk 99.5 TV. You can check it out there. Feel free. I'm not telling you don't. And we see the viewers over there, and hi, and thank you very much for checking us out. But there's also CRN Live on YouTube as well. And producer John Myers is over there taking care of that. Thank him very much. And we say good morning to all of our viewers there as well. All right, so obviously, first things first, according to what we are hearing, and the statement backs it up that I'm about to read, the remainder of the IHRA Nitro Drag Racing Series, again, that series specifically, stock car, the drag boats, all the other stuff that they are over, this is not affecting that at this point in time. We're simply talking about the Nitro Drag Racing Series, Top Fuel, Funny Car, what is it? Mountain Motor, Pro Stock, and there's one more that I'm missing.
Pro
Mod, thank you. Those are their 4 top divisions that are in Nitro Drag Racing. Those are the ones that are affected. And the statement from the IHRA president says this, quote, "This was an extremely difficult decision following last week's schedule update," the one that we talked about, the 4 races that got canceled. "IHRA's management team continued evaluating the operational requirements necessary to complete the season at the level that our racers deserve. Became clear we could not deliver the quality, safety, and professionalism that define IHRA competition. Rather than lower our expectations simply to complete the schedule, we believe concluding the 2026 Nitro season is the most responsible decision. This announcement applies only to the 2026 IHRA Nitro Drag Racing Series. IHRA-owned drag racing facilities, weekly bracket racing, sportsman competition, team finals, and the IHRA World Championship will continue as scheduled. Racers should continue following their individual series and track communications for updates." We'll get back to that in a moment. IHRA President Dustin Farthing wrapped up the statement by saying this, quote, "Our roots started in drag racing. The racers who fill the staging lanes every weekend are the foundation of the IHRA. Our focus is on rebuilding from the ground up, investing in our member tracks, sportsman racing, grassroots racers who built this organization. We will not lower our event standards simply to say we completed a race. It is not the end of national event drag racing. It's a reset. By strengthening our foundation first, we'll build a stronger future for our racers, tracks, sponsors, and fans." And it was wrapped up by saying that the IHRA sincerely thanks its racers, teams, sponsors, volunteers, track operators, and fans for their continued support as we begin the next chapter of the organization. And remember this, like we just talked about when it came to Montgomery.
Mm-hmm.
There are member tracks, and then there are IHRA-owned tracks. So we do need to make that clarification. IHRA does not own Montgomery. Montgomery is an IHRA member track, but they're not owned by it.
Right.
Atlanta is owned by the IHRA. So the statement says all the right things.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to play devil's advocate for a moment. You remember the old AAFC, the All-American Football Conference, that had a team right here in Birmingham called the Birmingham Iron? Vaguely. Just before COVID, by the way.
I remember the Barracudas.
Yeah, CFL.
The Iron, the Bolts.
Yeah, the first XFL.
That's the only ones I remember outside of the Stallions.
Okay. So here's the deal, specifically for the Iron. Because I remember when the AAFC decided we're going to suspend operations here midway through the year. And we knew that they had money problems. But they had a statement that came out, sounded remarkably like what we just heard. And I hate to say that. Again, this is me playing the devil's advocate side of things in the fact that those two statements sounded very, very similar, as I remember the AAFC statement. But we plan on coming back better and stronger than ever.
Yeah.
Here's the difference that I can tell. IHRA has a Darryl Cuttle. AAFC did not.
True. It is true.
Don't underestimate the deep pockets that Darryl Cuttle has. Again, you found out. You did the research. I'll let you tell it. Where did Darryl Cuttle get his money? Or where is he getting his money? Because I kind of get the funny feeling he hasn't cut ties yet.
He's a business partner with Elon Musk. He's a business partner with Elon.
Okay. So this is the difference between that and that startup spring football league or any other startup organization. How much money do you have behind you? And Darryl Cuttle has a large bank account behind him.
It is true.
Now, we can go back to it and say it again. How do you make a small fortune in racing?
Start with a large one.
You're going to spend a lot of money becoming a success. And this does not matter whether you're a team owner, a driver on whatever level, who basically is, and Matt would know this, kind of a driver owner, or whether you own the team or own the series. And the other truth of the matter is, the show that's going to follow us, Jim Moore, Shop Talk, the show that was on last night from 6 to 7 p.m. here on this radio station, Breaking Bread, Will the Chubb Father. Ask any business owner of any business whatsoever, and they will tell you that for a short period of time, you're going to lose money hand over fist until you can get yourself settled.
Yes, you are.
And then
Yes,
once you
are.
get yourself settled and you get a good reputation, like a Chubb Fathers has, or like Moore Brothers Automotive has, or like NASCAR, IndyCar, Formula One, which have all been around 60, 70 years, you're going to have growing pains. You're going to have a hard time getting things rolling. NHRA is another prime example. They are this year celebrating their 75th anniversary. I remember the IHRA from when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And then it went away.
Yeah.
And you kind of wondered, are they ever going to come back? Are they ever going to be that series that they once were? And then here comes big money Darryl Cuttle. And it's why we started following this situation, because we realized how much money was behind getting this version of the IHRA up and running.
Yep.
Maybe they can make themselves a legitimate racing series once again. And they have done many, many things towards that move. But you and I have also been watching carefully enough, again, to think, wow, he bought another one. Wow, he not bought another one. It seemed like for a good run there and then another good run about a year later, that they were just buying track after track after track after track. And you think, okay, it's great for the track if they're not biting off more than they can chew.
And some of the, especially the short track series that got started up, it's doing really, really well.
Yeah.
And I'll say it this way. My source that I personally know, that I've got their phone number right here in this phone, has told me that's business as usual.
Okay.
They're staying like it is. The only thing that this is affected is just the Nitro series.
Nitro drag racing.
The tractor pulling league series that they've got ran last night.
Yeah. Stock car's still running.
Stock cars are still running.
Powerboat.
The bracket.
I can't even remember all
the
the
bracket series with the member tracks. Business as usual.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
This is, don't get me wrong, this is on one level very disturbing. Because you don't want to hear of any series, no matter how big or small, at what level, going, you know what, we're midway through the year, but we're gonna have to shut it down. You don't want to hear it.
Not in July.
But if they can actually do what they're saying, which is effectively reorganize, give themselves a little bit more time to build up the facilities the way that they want to and need to, then they might just be onto something, and the future of the IHRA begins to look more long-term as opposed to, are they biting off more than they can chew?
I agree.
So we'll keep an eye on it, but right now it appears that the IHRA season for 2026 is over as far as drag racing is concerned. But again, we'll keep an eye on it. We'll be looking out for more news and see what they have to say. The NHRA, meanwhile, is over there thinking about next year already. And we have a preview of the first 4 races of the 2027 schedule. We'll talk about it as we get into hour number 2 on this weekend's edition of CRN.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back for buying gas. That's right. You can earn cash back with Upside just for buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside, and just last year, I made nearly $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get cash back? If you like extra cash, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back when you fill your tank. Use promo code CLEAN to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime, right to your bank or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code CLEAN for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code CLEAN for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Two tires only, and back out to the track for more action on the Championship Racing Network.
Hour number 2 getting underway here. Portions of the show being brought to you by the fine folks at Cat and Bird Winery. Matt Lyons and all the fine folks that are down there, yeah, including my wife. All kinds of stuff going on. Today, kind of a basic, just, hey, we're going to be open on a Saturday afternoon starting at noon. Got a food truck, Battle Axe is going to be out there. They're always well received. Got music from 1 to 4 from a group called the Stay Tuned Duo. I don't think I've ever heard of them. This coming Thursday, Girls Night Out and a cookie decorating class combined into one. Doors will open about 5 o'clock. Cookie class will start at about 6. Next Saturday, yoga under the pavilion if you're interested in hot yoga, because that's probably what it'll be next Saturday, 11 to noon. And then they're going to do a low country boil from Roll Cage and Boudin. There you go. Saturday, July 25th, basic, straightforward, wide open, start noon to about 6 o'clock. On August the 6th, first Thursday of the month, back to that, music trivia. Thursday, August the 6th. I looked ahead. It'll be Thursday, September the 3rd. First Thursday of the month of September. Matt has already claimed it. So I have to work up an all 80s music trivia. I think I can handle it. Cat and Bird Winery, located 11661 Old Highway 280 in Chelsea. Open at noon today. I'm going to be down there probably right after we get done with the show and right about the time they open. And see everybody and check in on things and see what else needs to be done. But, yeah, check them out. Thank Matt and everybody down there. And, by the way, if you tell them you heard about it on CRN, 10% off your order. And it's going to be hot today. Wines, all done on site, not grown. They don't grow the grapes. They bring them in. But they do all the prep for the wines there. They have what they call wine slushies, so you get cold stuff. They've got beer from Siluria Brewing Company that you can buy there. Plus, there's some stuff for the kids there as well. Mm-hmm. So there you go. Cat and Bird Winery, thank them very much for being great partners here. Tell them you heard about us right here on CRN. NHRA, strangely enough, schedule release, not the full one, but to think that they got trumped by the IHRA, because usually schedule release is one of the top stories that we're going to give you. They're not ready to release the full 2027 schedule yet, but they are willing to tease us. They released the first 4 dates of the year, and now it's kind of getting back to what we're used to. Over the last couple of years now, we have seen where they've opened up the season down in Florida with the Gator Nationals. And that's been kind of a cool thing and a neat feather in the cap for the fine folks down in Gainesville. But we were so used to them opening up in Southern California at what is now In-N-Out Burger Dragway.
Yeah.
Which is still an odd thing to say. And the Winter Nationals, but they went away from that for a long time. Now they're going back to it. That's going to be the kickoff once again next year. Winter Nationals lead things off the weekend of February 18th through the 21st. The next weekend, they'll be at the Arizona Nationals at Firebird Raceway. Love the fact that they brought that name back. Mid-March, race number 3 on the year is going to be at the Gator Nationals. And then they'll begin the first weekend in April. The first 4-wide race of the year will be at ZMAX Dragway in Charlotte, North Carolina. So Pomona, California, Phoenix, Arizona, for all intents and purposes, Gainesville, Florida, and Charlotte, North Carolina. That's a pretty strong opening.
Yeah. Very strong.
The year will also be known as 50 Years of Force. They're going to honor the legacy of John Force, NHRA's winningest driver, over 150 event wins in funny car competition, no less than 16 NHRA funny car titles. NHRA officials have said also that the full 2027 schedule will be coming out within the next few weeks, but we don't have an exact release date. So they still have some things that they need to work out detail-wise.
I am really happy that the Winter Nationals are going back to February.
And actually happen in winter.
Yeah. Instead of being, the Winter Nationals in March.
Yeah.
When it's springtime already.
Yeah, especially in Southern California. I mean, technically the calendar says it's not spring yet, but you're in Southern California. By the time you get into March, it practically feels like summer there. Let's get into Formula One news here and talk about that situation that ended last weekend's race in Britain. And remember, Max Verstappen spun off into the gravel lap 48 of 52 laps. Now, to get the car out of the rocks, they had to deploy a crane and remove it, and then they had to do some cleanup because it sprayed some of the gravel around there, led to some more delays, right? But if you were watching carefully, you saw a quick notation on the screen that said, going back to green next lap.
Mm-hmm.
No, they never actually did. They had to retract that statement. The FIA is blaming a software error on the late race confusion about whether or not it was going to go end under yellow or do a one-lap sprint to the checkers. So here's the thing. Again, after they finally got Max Verstappen's car out of the way, got all the gravel off the track, by the time things were wrapped, the notation of safety car ending got shown to the field. When it was, in effect, the leader, Charles Leclerc, had already taken the white flag and the yellow flag, which meant that they were on the last lap.
Yep.
So they had to retract the message to the drivers. FIA regulations for 2026 say this, quote, unless the race director considers the presence of the safety car remains necessary, once the message lapped cars may now overtake has been sent to all competitors in accordance with Article B5.13.4c.abcdefg. The safety car will return to the pits at the end of the following lap. Well, if it's the white flag lap, the next time you come around, it's the checkers.
Correct. Last I checked, that's correct.
So the message made little sense and they retracted it.
Yeah.
Who the heck hit the button in the first place? Because that doesn't go automatically. Somebody has to hit a button that says, here's the notification, safety car period ending next lap.
Is Juice Hamilton or Tim Berman in the booth or something? Because that's or Seth Kramlich or somebody.
Oops.
There's a little hair trigger. That's hair trigger there.
Yeah, we're a little too quick on that one, boys and girls. A little too quick. So let's get that fixed, boys and girls. Let's get it fixed. Cadillac, the latest team, Racer.com, is reporting to poach some vital people from Red Bull Racing as the apparent fallout from last year's Christian Horner firing continues. This is something we talked about during the Cross Flags podcast this week. Available right now. CRN Live on YouTube and Real Talk 99.5 TV. I know, self-serving promo. Latest to leave the operation is Chief Engineer Paul Monahan. Monahan's been with the team for 2 decades. He's led the engineering staff through titles with both Sebastian Vettel and Max Verstappen. Before that, he worked with McLaren, Sir Lewis Hamilton when he won his first title, anybody? And Renault. Neither side's either confirming or denying the report until late this week when it basically was confirmed by Red Bull Racing Monahan was leaving. If he is indeed going to Cadillac, it's simply really a matter of working out how long this, I love how the Europeans put this, gardening period, what we in the U.S. would term a non-compete clause. how long would this need to be? How long would it need to last before he could officially join Cadillac? Now, 6 months is the official, generally the rule. But if Red Bull wants, they could push for longer, and this becomes a negotiation situation between Red Bull Racing and the Cadillac F1 team. And again, all that stuff we've talked about here. And you and I went a little bit deeper, but I think it's worth kind of rehashing it here.
Mm-hmm.
Paul Monahan has a great, pardon the pun, track record. His resume is unquestioned.
Yeah.
This would be a big pull for Cadillac to get him, if indeed this does come to fruition. And every single report that I'm hearing continues to point Paul Monahan to Cadillac.
That would be massive for Cadillac, no doubt.
It'd be huge.
Yeah. Graham Loudon needs to make a splash technical hire. Let's call it that.
Right. And I don't know whether you saw this or not, but I did. Saw a report this week that talked about the advances that Cadillac has made.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they haven't scored a point this year.
Right.
Yes, they just dealt through 2 races before Britain where their brakes literally caught on fire.
Mm-hmm.
But if you take what they did in race number 1 this year in Australia and just look, for example, at the qualifying numbers
mm-hmm.
versus the qualifying times, specifically the gap from the top of the field, whoever sat on the pole, to where the first, or for that matter, the second Cadillac car is,
mm-hmm.
that gap is narrowed significantly.
Yeah, it's gotten tighter. They're not, I'll just say it, they're not 87 seconds off the pace anymore. They're down to within a couple.
Yeah.
Which is progress.
Or if you want to look at it from another angle, from back in Australia where the gap between first and Cadillac was 3, maybe even 4 seconds.
Yes.
It's now under a second in some cases.
Yes.
So there is advancement being made.
Yeah.
And then you bring in somebody like Paul Monahan, who has done, again, championship level work with McLaren and Red Bull.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of an advancement can they make with the money that's behind Cadillac?
It can be huge, and it can be substantial.
Mm-hmm.
Well, same thing.
Yeah.
But they need to do it and do it in a hurry because they got too much, like you said, too much resources, too much money to be
messing around with 0 championship points on the year.
807 seconds off the pace.
Yeah, exactly.
They're within a couple, but when you got your top 5 and top 10 within 9/10 of a second, you got a long way to go.
Yeah.
A very long way to go.
And with respect to Jerry Reed, something of a short time to get there. On the other hand is Red Bull's situation. And this is, again, we equated this to the Titanic after hitting the iceberg. They're not rearranging the chairs on the deck. They're watching people dive off. Paul Monahan's just the latest guy.
Yeah.
Now, I think Red Bull can survive it.
They can.
But this does go a long way towards explaining why they're wallowing all by themselves back in 4th place behind a struggling McLaren team.
Yep.
You know, McLaren will be the first person or the first team to admit to you, compared to last year where they are the defending Constructors' Cup champion and have the Drivers' champion in Lando Norris, this year they've missed the mark wildly.
Yes.
And they need
and then
binoculars to see 2nd place, much less 1st.
Yeah. And then some.
But Red Bull is far behind them.
Yeah, and it's going to be about at the point to where you're probably about to lose your flagship pilot driver.
It's looking that way.
Because of a clause that he has in his contract.
Yeah, it is looking that way, that Max Verstappen could easily try and find his way out. Does he go to another F1 team? Does he retire like he has been arguing that he might? I don't know. But I'm really kind of wondering, and I hate to put it the way of rats jumping off the ship, but there is that equation there. You're watching a whole bunch of big-name people who have been central to their title runs under Vettel and under Verstappen, who are now leaving. And all of this has happened since about 1 year ago this week when they fired Christian Horner.
Talk about an epic collapse.
And suddenly, who was happening to be roaming around the paddock at the British Grand Prix before the race last week? Christian Horner.
Mr. Spice Girl.
Ginger? Was it Ginger
Ginger Spice, yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Ginger Spice.
I get the funny feeling he ain't going to be out of Formula One much longer.
No.
He'll be back.
Yes, John Bird, you heard us correct. There is a Formula One team principal married to a Spice Girl.
That's not a bad deal.
Yeah.
Kind of like David Beckham, who got married. I can't remember which one she was, but Victoria Beckham?
Sporty Spice.
Was that Sporty? Okay.
Something like that.
You know, you sit there and you think, yeah, these are the kind of names that you would expect. You would expect a star on the field, on the pitch, to be married to a Spice Girl. For a guy behind the scenes to be married to a Spice Girl?
Oh, yeah.
Congratulations, Christian. F1 CEO Stefano Domenicali trying to figure out how to make things up from the two missed races from earlier this year. When the war broke out in Iran, the two races got canceled, Bahrain and Saudi Arabia. You remember that. Domenicali talked over this past weekend, said he was looking into the possibility that maybe one of the two races, specifically Bahrain, might actually be able to be rescheduled, quote, if the conditions are right. Iran's not cooperating, so maybe that's not going to work out right. But here's the report from ESPN that states, should all things work out, the weekend would be the weekend of October the 2nd through the 4th. That would place it in the off weekend between the Baku, Azerbaijan Grand Prix, where basically you're right there on the edge of Eastern Europe going into the Middle East. And then they go a weekend off before they would go to Singapore in Asia. So not a bad stopover, really, to go from Azerbaijan to Bahrain on the way to Singapore.
No, it would be in line of travel.
Again, if Iran cooperates, which, when was the last time Iran cooperated with a damn thing?
Never.
This isn't a political show, though, so we're not going to get into that. Domenicali, noted at the British Grand Prix, said this, quote, "This is really the hope, because if all the conditions are right, we're going to go ahead with our plan. If there is a chance, why not?" Added that the decision either way would need to come down before the upcoming summer break, where the series takes most of the month of August off. They will run the last weekend in the month of July, and then they're off for a month. So he's saying within the next, effectively, 2 weeks, they need to make a decision either way. Mm-hmm. Based upon what we're seeing right now out of what's coming out of Iran, I've got my doubts as to whether this is going to happen.
Ladies and gentlemen, this morning, I don't think we're going to let it become Steve's turn.
No, I'm not. Again, I'd love to see it happen, but ultimately, in the end, you have to err on the side of caution of safety for your drivers, your teams, all of their members, and any fans who would want to show up to the race. And you think about it, Bahrain, you're probably talking, 350,000 fans hitting the turnstiles over the course of the weekend?
Oh, at least. And then if, they get there, they're running their event, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think Bahrain's a night race.
I think it would be, yeah. Especially if you're talking about October. It's probably still pretty hot there.
Let's just say they try to get cute and launch a barrage towards Bahrain, because Bahrain is not all that far from there.
No. And effectively, they've already sent drones. They've done it before.
It's just trying to get cute and sitting over there. Send something over there to try to be funny. And look at all of the countries that are involved. Britain, Germany, Spain, places like that. They did that. I will say this very, very, very plainly. All proverbial hell would break loose if they did that.
Yeah. So
with how many countries are involved for a world sporting event, and then poof, uh-oh.
Uh-huh.
That would probably be their reaction for the repercussions if they did something like that. Uh-oh.
All it takes is one moron in the leadership of Iran to do something stupid like that.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. I don't put it past the morons in the leadership of Iran to do something epically stupid.
No. In the words of Brad Paisley in his song, me neither.
There you go. On the other side of this, if there is a complaint to come from anybody within Formula One, it might actually be the drivers. Because if this does come together, it means the season would end not with 8, but with 9 races, and all of them would be in triple header form. In rapid fire, you would have Azerbaijan, Bahrain, and Singapore off weekend. Then they would come to the United States, run COTA, then run Mexico City, then run Brazil, take a week off, come back to the United States, and then in the final 3 weeks of the year, run Vegas, Qatar, and Abu Dhabi. And here's the other thing. Qatar and Abu Dhabi are also in the Middle East, so a lot depends on, again, what Iran ends up doing with the moron leadership that they have.
I'm going to speak in Southern terms here. With Qatar.
Yeah, them.
Them. Considering they're right across the river from the other county. Yeah, that'd be touch and go.
Uh-huh.
But I might not have enough F1 super license points. But if anybody wants to Bravo Mike Charlie about 3 triple headers, have helmet will travel.
Mm-hmm.
And my gear that I still have is FIA legal.
There you go. John Bird, hit that wonderful music bed, would you please, sir? When we come back, we'll switch from Formula One to Formula E. One team is looking to their future. They say that they will be part of the Gen 4 of it. And then there's another guy who, well, he's in his final year with one particular team. And he's hoping that final year with that team didn't take a massive championship hit. We'll look at the future for Mitch Evans coming up right after this on CRN.
Don't touch that dial. The Championship Racing Network will be right back.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. Did you know the IRS has programs specifically designed to help people struggling with tax debt? Powerful tax assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm, A-rated by the Better Business Bureau. Their award-winning tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $3 billion of tax debt for their clients. One call to Optima can start the process, helping to put an end to your worries about wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other aggressive IRS actions. Find the best options to solve your tax problems. Call the experts at Optima Tax Relief today for a free consultation.
Call 800-608-0955. 800-608-0955. 800-608-0955.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Fuel only. Go, go, go. We're back to the Championship Racing Network.
All right, let's run through a couple of things here from the world of Formula E here, and then we'll get into some NASCAR stock car news here. Mitch Evans hopes to claim a title in his final year with Jaguar. May have taken the big hit that he didn't really want. Last weekend, he wasn't even able to start the race. Our resident driver over here knows how bad that can be when it comes to points.
Yep.
Coming into the weekend, he held a 19-point lead in the standing, but missing out on the race, he is now second place. Jaguar officials said that the culprit keeping him from making the race was a DC to DC inverter failure. One would think you wouldn't need an inverter just to be able to go DC to DC, but apparently this is the ways of battery-operated cars.
Kids, this is why we don't drive battery-operated cars.
Yeah, really.
We run gasoline, naturally aspirated powered vehicles.
Now, here's the situation. This, kind of like the Gen 7 Cup Series car, is not something that the team built. This is a single source part that all teams run. And while they attempted to change it while on the grid, they ended up hitting something wrong and blew a fuse in the battery pack, and that ended up blowing their hopes of getting him rolling. 4 races left to try and bounce back. Tokyo's up next, and in the 3 races there, Evans has not done well. Best finish of 15th. That's not a good sign. London, if he can still be within close range of the lead, it would be better for him. He does have a win and 3 other podium finishes in 6 previous races there, this season being the last of the Excel Center course before next year they move over to Brands Hatch and actually run on a real road course.
Interesting.
So let's see what happens with him. Meanwhile, Cupra Kiro prepared to continue on in Formula E. Series wrapping up this year. Next year will debut the 4th generation car. This is the more powerful battery pack that they have. This team is the latest to confirm that they're going to continue on in the series, but they have revealed they're going to also continue on as customers in the series. They're going to continue to get their powertrain units from Porsche. Team joined the series 2024-2025 season paired with Porsche right off the bat. They got a win and 2 pole positions, and they say they're positioning themselves for bigger and better things when the power output increases and the speeds get higher. Good luck. Meanwhile, Cup Series-wise, bad luck for Tyler Reddick continues. Remember, this is a guy who we thought had a once untouchable points lead. It was what, right around 150 points at one point in time?
Close, something like that.
Like 148 or something like that.
Yeah.
We thought that practically untouchable. And then he goes into this 6-pack of races here where if it weren't for bad luck, he'd have no luck at all, to borrow the phrase from Hee Haw.
Been there, done that.
And he's now sitting some 44 points behind Denny Hamlin. What happened at Chicago? It was a puncture from a foreign object that went through the front grille, punched a hole in the radiator on the oil cooler, caused him to have to go behind the wall where the 45 team effected repairs. When the repairs were complete, came back 30 laps down. He was hoping for much more attrition, but strangely enough, not a whole lot of attrition out of the Chicagoland race.
There wasn't. It really wasn't. And what makes all that worse is it went through at a point to where it busted the oil cooler first and then busted the radiator.
Ow.
And that is a fine angle how you have to do both of those at one time.
And it hit it perfectly. He ended up 36th on the day. What was the problem? Onboard cameras, and you'll see a picture of this on CRN Live on YouTube if you're over there, shows a crew member uncovering a support brace for a front splitter or rear diffuser, which it's effectively the same thing on both ends. NASCAR later claimed it was a front splitter brace or stay that came off of the number 38 Ford of Zane Smith, who he himself was having a bit of a run-in with Carson Hocevar.
Kids, y'all take your toys and go to your room and play and be nice.
Really?
I mean, you're playing with $300,000 toys.
I know. And they're getting upset at each other. But here's, and I guess to a certain extent I can kind of understand it, because as opposed to winning you're in now, every point matters. And if you have a run-in at the wrong time and you get shot out of a race, I can understand where you get ticked off, but that's why you have the 6 days in between your races. Work it out. Figure it out and work it out. Speaking of trying to figure it out and work it out, we'll see whether or not they have or not. When the penalty sheet got released on Tuesday of this week, there were some that were surprised not to see the names of either Austin Hill or Shane Van Gisbergen. That pair made contact during stage 1 of last weekend's race at Chicagoland Speedway. Hill's day got ended because of the damage that the 33 sustained when he ended up being shot into the wall. But before he headed into the garage area, Hill doored SVG's number 97, said to media afterward he felt SVG ran into his back bumper on purpose. I've seen the video of this. I don't see where Hill's coming from.
It's all stemming from San Diego.
I get that.
It's all stemming from San Diego.
But he's claiming that at Chicago, SVG ran into his back bumper on purpose. I'm watching from SVG's car. Hill's the one coming down onto SVG.
Hill was apexing in. It looked to me, Van Gisbergen had a better run into the corner versus what Hill had.
Yeah.
But don't open your mouth before you have factual information.
Either way, SVG was able to continue on. He finished 25th place. Meanwhile, Hill ended up 37th on the day. NASCAR officials said that they have looked at the video. There was not enough evidence to charge SVG with anything. And as far as Hill's concerned, they just chalked that up to emotion, so they didn't penalize either. But they said that they plan to meet with both drivers this weekend at Echo Park before they get into the cars to try and clear the air. Good luck.
Let the competitors police it themselves.
I got to admit,
let them police it to themselves.
SVG and Hill would be an interesting matchup because they're both pretty big guys.
Hill is more stockier. Van Gisbergen's got height.
Which means he's got reach.
Which means he's got reach. So, let it be.
Boys, have at it.
Let it be.
Go figure it out. Do us a favor. I still remember the day I said this when I was at the old BIR. Remember that? Kids, ask your grandparents. We had an evening where, gosh, I wish I remembered the division. I want to say it was the late models. And two drivers got into each other, and I mean bad, on the backstretch.
Mm-hmm.
And they came down on the pit road, and I'm sitting there in the PA booth, and I'm watching a bunch of those guys start to begin to work their way down to the other participant. And I can't remember the two drivers. Again, this has been 20 years ago. It's been a while. But I start watching them advance from one truck, one hauler, down to the other. And I got on to the PA speaker, and I said, boys, if you're going to fight, feel free, go ahead, do us a favor, bring it out on the front stretch so we can all see it. Two things happened. Number one, everybody in the grandstands cheered to no end because they loved that comment. The second thing was the fight did not happen. So apparently they heard it and started laughing, or somebody went over and was able to intervene.
No.
But it was interesting that the timing of it was right after I made the statement and the grandstands cheered, and suddenly whatever was happening emotionally just kind of went away.
9 times out of 10, that's emotion coming out, and it's going to be there. You're going to get nose to nose with them and just let your voice be heard. It's not very. It does happen, but it's not as often as you think.
Yeah.
That punches are thrown.
Yeah. But it was fun to do it and look at it that way. But, you know, hey, if you want to go after it, go after it.
There's something I just seen that's interesting about this truck race today that I definitely want to hit on.
Okay, go
when
for
we
it.
get there.
Okay. Let's see what else we can get into before we get to that. All right, so we've talked about how the Cup Series season split 4 ways. But to rehash it again, contract slated to run through the 2031 year. Fox has the first 14 races of the year, which they've generally kind of leaned on their cable network partners, Fox Sports 1, to carry most of that load. This year, the split, 6 for Fox, 8 on Fox Sports 1. Then we get the 5 races on Amazon Prime. Then you get what we're in the middle of right now, 5 races on TNT Sports, which you can also see through HBO Max if you're like me and you've cut your cable. And then the final 14 races of the year would go to NBC Sports, of which this year only 4 are going to be on NBC itself, the other 10 via USA, or if you're streaming like I am, maybe Peacock, if you're lucky. Last year, the races that were on USA didn't end up on Peacock. And I'm thinking to myself, what the heck are you doing?
Yeah.
Now, again, we're still in the middle of the TNT Sports portion of the schedule. Strangely enough, both they and Amazon Prime have, in the last week or so, wished that, and have said so out loud, that when they got into, or back into NASCAR, as the case may be in TNT Sports, they wish they'd bought bigger portions of the schedule.
I can see why, because of how their coverage quality has been. And
Especially Amazon Prime.
Yeah. And I mean from an overall standpoint of every single facet, from the time it goes live to the time it ends.
Yeah. And when it comes to Amazon Prime, we've talked about the positives there. Yes, there is the situation of technically fewer commercial breaks because Amazon Prime is not on cable. So all they're doing is selling enough to really make their money back.
Mm-hmm.
So they're doing a rather minimalist side of things during the race, which is a great thing for the viewers. Plus, every time they go to commercial break, you have the side-by-side, which if you're looking at our particular show on either of the YouTubes, Talk 99.5 or CRN Live, you're seeing a side-by-side. I'm in one picture and Matt's in the other one. Same situation, commercial in one side, race in the other. And then they can run as long a pre-race show as they want to run, which, by the way, because being who they are and not beholden to specific network schedules, which Fox, NBC, and TNT all are, if NASCAR says, hey, we want to move this race up an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours in order to beat rain that's scheduled to come in, Amazon Prime can do it like that.
See Pocono.
So they can have as long or as short a pre-race as they want. And most importantly, they can have as long or as short a post-race as they want. And they have done a very, very nice job in their post-races.
Because Amazon and TNT have done well enough to where the response and critique of everything has been overwhelmingly positive.
Yeah.
That's why, and I can see why.
And here's the other part of it, especially for Amazon. This is big for Amazon. Their viewership numbers are not all that far off from what we have seen when they go on USA or Fox Sports 1 or, truth be told, on TNT. Amazon Prime numbers are right at about that number one. And number two, the viewer demographics skew younger on Amazon Prime.
Yep. They do.
I get it. There are people that just simply will not, if they haven't gotten it now, they'll never get it. And if you choose not to get whatever streaming service, I'm the last person to tell you need to go get it. It's your choice. It's your money. It's your wallet. It's your checkbook. It's the money coming out of your bank account.
Right.
I understand that.
Right.
But I'm here to tell you, if you haven't seen Amazon Prime's coverage of the Cup Series, you'd be surprised how good it is. You'd be really surprised.
I suggest you watch it.
But here's the other side of it. Obviously, they can't. It can't likely happen until 2031 unless Fox and or NBC would be willing to give up some of their races, which would mean a renegotiation of the contracts. I can't guarantee that that's ever going to happen.
Right.
I seriously doubt Fox would, because Fox has been invested in this since 2001. If it were going to happen, maybe NBC, but I can't guarantee that either. They lost IndyCar to Fox.
I could see whenever it gets done again, I could see it going a +3. 3 races from USA, NBC, 3 races from Fox, and add it to each one of them and give them 8. 11, 11, 8, and 8.
I could see that. But again, I don't know whether you're going to find any of them willing to do it.
True.
NASCAR CEO Steve O'Donnell said this week, quote, "We've got contractual obligations, obviously, but what can I say? I don't think I'm giving away any trade secrets. If you talk to Prime, they wish they'd bought more. If you talk to Turner, they wish they'd have bought more. It's a good thing. It's great for us. I've talked to Eric Shanks at Fox. I've talked with the folks at Amazon. I've talked with Turner. All of them are really happy with what's going on right now, feel the momentum in the sport. Our job now is to really show that growth." I do find it interesting that he hadn't mentioned NBC in that.
That is true. That is true.
So that does lead the question of How does NBC feel about their portion of the schedule?
I mean, if you're putting as many as you're putting on USA and not on the big network, that ought to say something.
It ain't a priority to you. That's for darn sure.
Just like Fox.
And I don't care whether the last 3 or 4 races of the year are actually on NBC. That makes sense because you're talking about getting down to the title race and the title race itself this year at Homestead, Miami. It dang well better be on the main network.
It will be, before we go to our last break, it will be a clear sign where the priorities lay. If either Fox or NBC, Fox Sports or NBC Sports, were to take Talladega and put them on either USA or FS1, that will tell you where your priorities lay.
Yeah. And right now, neither one of them are dumb enough to do that.
Nope.
To their credit.
Yet.
One more note here, and then we'll go to break. There will be a public celebration of life for Kyle Busch happen later this year. Specifically, it'll be on October the 9th. It'll take place at Charlotte Motor Speedway right after the Craftsman Truck Series race. Now, not all the details have been ironed out or released, but NASCAR and track officials promise those details are coming soon. What they have said is this: it will be free to attend. So even if you don't have a ticket to the Craftsman Truck Series race, once that race is over, you can go in and you can actually see this live and in person.
Yep. That's going to be big.
Good move. Good move on their part.
Very.
All right. Got a short film out that was actually created by a team owner in NASCAR. We'll tell you about it next. And then Lime Rock Park got hit by some pretty severe weather earlier this week. We'll find out how that's affecting things up there for this weekend. That's right after this final break on CRN.
We will be right back with more on the Championship Racing Network. 4 tires and 2 cans of fuel, and we're back to more racing action on the Championship Racing Network.
Welcome back in. Final segment of today's show here. We're talking now to the O'Reilly Auto Parts series. Not really something on the track specifically, but something more off the track. And it was some years ago that team owner Tommy Joe Martins wrote and directed his own short film about racing. It's entitled Underfunded. Now, you're a racer. You know all about Underfunded.
Yep.
When it came out, it was highly thought of at a lot of independent film festivals, but otherwise it's largely gone unseen until now. You can, via YouTube, check it out. A group called Omeletto, O-M-E-L-E-T-O, Omeletto channel. They've picked it up, and it is now available for streaming as of Tuesday of this week. Now, with respect to the people that are in it, it doesn't star anyone of any real note. You got Patrick Logan, Joseph Gray, Austin Valley, and Kim Sandwich. And again, it's a short film. It's got a runtime of 24 minutes, revolves around 2 young drivers, a crusty veteran, and a team owner, all trying to make it in the racing world and how money makes their respective worlds turn in racing. I have seen the preview of this, and I've watched a couple of pieces of it. I have not watched the whole thing yet. I got to admit, for somebody who really knows NASCAR team ownership and very little to nothing about making a film, it looks pretty dang good.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I mean, I've seen clips of it too, but I hadn't seen the whole thing. It looks well done.
Yeah, looks actually pretty well done, all things being equal. So I'm going to have to sit down and watch the whole thing here very, very soon. Check it out. To the Craftsman Truck Series here, state of Connecticut got hit on July 5th with a pretty big storm. Knocked out power to the northwestern part of the state. Took down some trees, generally created havoc. So why are we mentioning weather on a racing show? Well, why wouldn't we if it's where the track that they happen to be racing at is located? And that is where Lime Rock Park is located, the northwestern part of the state of Connecticut, where the Craftsman Truck Series, among others, is slated to run later today. Work crews got to work immediately on cleanup. Utility companies lent helping hands, probably actually got some from New York and Massachusetts as well, if I were going to guess. And track officials said on Wednesday they were going to be more than ready to welcome the trucks for their scheduled race. This weekend, by the way, yesterday, they ran the ARCA Menard Series and USF Juniors. This weekend, and then today, Craftsman Truck Series. Now, the track, if you've never seen it before, actually doesn't have grandstands. It's very similar, for example, to Barber Motorsports Park. Seating on hillsides, a very scenic area. Seating is on hillsides around the area.
That's one racetrack I'd love to go spot at.
Yeah, I think it would be cool. A lot of trees around there, 1.53 mile long track. They state it's nothing that they haven't dealt with before. They will be prepared to race. They are on track this morning.
Yeah, they are. They got running practice and qualifying with the birds hitting the roost this morning, for sure. One interesting thing about this weekend that I saw just a few minutes ago, Christian Eckes is competing this weekend, and this happened post race after the San Diego truck race.
Ooh, after. Okay.
He is driving with a grade 3. I said a grade 3 lateral ankle sprain in his left foot.
His clutch foot at a road course.
Holy pain pill.
I think this is more than a pill.
I think somebody probably got themselves a cortisone shot.
Yeah, because, I mean, you think about it, all the normal pain situations that us normal people would go through, NASCAR's probably going to go,
Yeah, because me with 2 major surgeries in a year, I'm very familiar with that.
Yeah.
He is too.
Sure.
Don't think they would let somebody wheel a 3,500-pound truck around a road course under the influence of oxycodone, which would be better known as Percocets.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
No.
That's I'm not sure that just popping a couple of Tylenol or Advil is going to work.
No, because first few times you hit that brake and that clutch going around probably 5 and 6 and changing gears, you're going to be going, oh, this hurts.
So how's he doing so far on the practice?
They're actually under qualifying. Group 2 is about to be done
Okay.
now. He is inside the top 20.
Good for him.
Sitting in, cycle back around. Come on. Come on.
Yeah.
13th.
Okay. A couple of other notes there. Who's at the top?
That's going to be Lane Riggs.
Not the biggest surprises.
Lane Riggs, Connor Mozak, Thomas Annunziata, Ty Majeski, Landon Lewis, Caden Honeycutt, Daniel Hemrick, Chandler Smith, Jake Garcia, and Gio Ruggiero set as the current top 10.
Annunziata's a little bit of surprise until you realize how good of a road course racer he actually is.
Yeah, he's strong.
And then this weekend is the weekend where IndyCar driver Louis Foster is moonlighting.
Yes, he's running the 76 Freedom Enterprises truck that Spencer Boyd owns. And he's currently sitting 25th, which is respectable.
Yeah, not bad when you think about it, all things being equal.
Yeah,
and the
it is
fact that
respectable.
Freedom Enterprises, they're still, speaking of going through growing pains, they're still having a situation trying to get themselves off of the mat.
Yeah, they are. And he's out qualified 4 of the 5 rounds.
Whoa.
And right barely, and I mean barely, behind the 5th one of Corey LaJoy.
Okay.
He is 6/100ths of a second behind Corey LaJoy.
It shows the relative intelligence, if you want to put it that way, of putting him behind the wheel. His road course prowess, lack of experience in the truck series or a stock car or full fendered vehicle notwithstanding,
right?
His ability to get around a road course, that was a pretty smart move on Spencer Boyd's part. Got to give him credit for that.
And he's out qualified road racer Graham Doyle that's in the 5 Tricon truck.
That says a lot.
Yeah.
Speaking of moonlighting, doesn't happen a whole lot, but Chase Elliott set to work with Spire Motorsports, going to be in their number 7 Chevrolet Silverado when the truck heads to North Wilkesboro Speedway. Now, Chase Elliott hasn't raced in the series since 2023. That was the season opener at Daytona. He only has 18 starts in the series in his career, but he does have 3 wins. The most recent of those came in 2020 at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Right.
He was not slated to run this race. I'll tell you that right now. He was not slated to run this race. This race, the North Wilkesboro race, that number 7 Chevrolet was supposed to be run by Kyle Busch.
And there is another little nugget about that aspect of it, too, as well, that a lot of people don't realize. Chase Elliott is competing as well in the Cars Tour late model race.
So he's going to get a lot of action that weekend in North Wilkesboro.
Driving for Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the number 8 car.
See where you're going with that.
That Kyle Busch was going to also drive.
Yeah. So even if just on an emotional level, you kind of start to automatically root for Chase Elliott.
Yeah, because Napa's going to be on the quarter panels of the late model. And then, of course, ShandrickCars.com will be on the 7 truck.
Yeah.
Like it is every time Kyle Busch drove it. So,
but knowing that those were the races, those were the cars and the races that Kyle Busch was supposed to run, you kind of automatically start to root for Chase Elliott there.
Yeah. Yep.
Usually when we talk about some driver or team owner getting into the adult beverage industry, lately it is either wine or bourbon. Craftsman Truck Series driver Ben Rhodes decided he's going to go down his own little path, and he has officially introduced his own brand of rum. He's named it Revere American Rum, being bottled by a company called Revolution Rum out of Bardstown, Kentucky. When our country started, rum was kind of the drink of choice.
Mm-hmm.
5 million gallons produced annually in the colonies before the Revolutionary War. You think about it. We weren't exactly a humongous population at that point in time. 5 million gallons is a pretty significant amount.
Especially in that day and age.
Rhodes noted that when the Revolutionary War broke out, things changed from rum to whiskey in the colonies because access to Jamaican sugar and molasses had been cut off by the British, and that's pretty important in making rum. So much like bourbon recently has caught the attention of aficionados, Rhodes is hoping rum is set for a revival. Revere American Rum is being offered in 2 varieties. The first is called Aged Rum Batch Number 1. It's aged for 6 years, aged without anything to speed the process, said to have notes of oak, coconut, and vanilla. Okay. Then there is White Rum Batch Number 1, said to be a little bit sweeter, a little bit more of a fruity taste to it. Now, here's the fun part to this. Sales began over the 4th of July weekend. This part of it, I understand. Shipping is to all states, save for these select ones. Alaska, Hawaii. Pretty difficult to get it to Alaska and Hawaii. I understand that. Then you get some other states that are not going to allow them to sell there. Utah, Mormonism. They're pretty tight there. Michigan, found that interesting. South Dakota. But maybe the most ironic one of all. Remember the name of this particular rum. It is called Revere American Rum. Ring a bell? Paul Revere's Midnight Ride? The state where Paul Revere made that ride, the state of Massachusetts, will not allow him to sell it there.
Interesting.
You can't make this stuff up.
And that makes me think of last year when one of the locals down in Nassau offered to try. A very, very, very shot of white rum.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That stuff was fantastic.
Talked about it on this week's Cross Flags episode. You can get more details there, but Arrow McLaren going to look very different in 2027. The only holdover is Pato Award. They brought, of course, Felix Rosenquist, this year's Indy 500 winner from Meyershank Racing. The other one is Scott Dixon, the 45-year-old, leaving after 25 years, Chip Ganassi Racing to go over there. Plus, they're going to have a 4th car in the Indy 500, and Ryan Hunter-Reay will drive it. And then there is the loss of Neil Mickelwright from the racing world. Name might not ring a bell right off the hand, but his place is secure. A British native, started off locally, worked his way up into F1, worked with teams like Lotus, Ensign, and Hesketh, I should say, before coming to the U.S., working in IndyCar. His first year, joined with the Doug Shireson kart team. Driver Ari Leyendijk as the team manager, claimed the Indy 500 win that year. Led Leyendijk to say of Mickelwright, a typical British racer, no nonsense, does a good job with what he's had, really good with what he did. Shifted over to Players Forsyth Racing under that stewardship. 33 kart wins and Champ Car race wins during that split time from 1994 to 2009, and in 2003 led Paul Tracy to the Champ Car title. Mickelwright passing away at the age of 69. Our thoughts and our prayers go out to all of his family and friends.
Yep.
We thank you, our viewers and or listeners.
This has been a presentation of the Championship Racing Network.